Before the fame, the catchphrases, and the title, King of the Swamp, Troy Landry was just a man doing what his family had done for generations, surviving the unforgiving waters of Louisiana. But in recent years, the reality behind the cameras has taken a far darker turn, from a serious health battle to legal headlines that caught fans off guard and heartbreaking losses within his inner circle. Troy's life has been anything but easy. The image viewers see on TV only tells part of the story. So what really happened when the camera stopped rolling? And how did one of television's toughest outdoorsmen face challenges he couldn't simply wrestle under control? Long before millions of viewers knew his name, Troy Landry lived a life most people wouldn't last a week in. Born and raised in Pierre Part, Louisiana, Troy didn't choose the swamp, it chose him. Hunting alligators wasn't a thrill or a flex, it was how his family put food on the table. From a young age, he learned how to read the water, respect its dangers, and survive mistakes that could cost you everything. This wasn't the kind of upbringing built for fame. There were no safety nets, no second chances, and definitely no cameras. One bad call could mean losing a boat, a season, or worse. That pressure shaped Troy into someone who valued control, routine, and toughness above all else. In the swamp, hesitation gets punished fast. That's why his later success felt almost accidental. When swamp people came along, Troy wasn't chasing attention. He was doing what he'd always done. The difference was that now, the entire world was watching. And once that private, unforgiving lifestyle became public entertainment, the line between real survival and televised legend started to blur. And that shift, from quiet survival to constant spotlight, would change everything that came after. When swamp people first hit television, no one could have predicted just how quickly Troy Landry would become its breakout personality. Viewers were drawn to his fearless attitude, sharp instincts, and the kind of confidence you only get from decades spent facing real danger. He wasn't polished or media trained, and that authenticity made him impossible to ignore. Almost overnight, Troy transformed from a local hunter into a national figure. Fans repeated his catchphrases, recognized him in public, and treated him less like a working man and more like a symbol of swamp toughness. But fame has a way of rewriting reality. Suddenly, every Gator season carried more than financial pressure. It carried expectations. People didn't just want Troy to succeed, they expected him to dominate. With that spotlight came opportunity, but also a new kind of weight. Being known as the King of the Swamp meant there was little room for bad seasons, mistakes, or vulnerability. The cameras captured the victories, yet rarely showed the exhaustion, the risks, or the mental strain of knowing millions were judging every move. And just as Troy settled into this larger-than-life reputation, another challenge surfaced. One that proved fame can attract problems as fast as it creates success. At the height of his growing fame, Troy Landry realized something unusual was happening. His voice was turning into someone else's profit. The same phrases fans loved were suddenly appearing on merchandise, promotions, and products he had nothing to do with. What started as personality was quickly becoming intellectual property. So Troy pushed back. Reports surfaced that he took legal action to protect trademarked phrases closely tied to his identity, including the one fans instantly associate with him. From a business perspective, it made sense. When your name becomes a brand, protecting it isn't optional. It's survival in a different kind of jungle. But not everyone saw it that way. Some critics quietly questioned whether the laid-back swamp hunter was becoming too corporate, too calculated. The situation revealed a side of fame most viewers never consider. Success doesn't just bring admiration, it brings people looking for ways to capitalize on it. And for someone like Troy, whose entire reputation was built on authenticity, even the hint of commercial conflict risked reshaping how fans viewed him. Still, this dispute was minor compared to what lay ahead, because while Troy was busy protecting his name, a far more personal fight was approaching. One that couldn't be handled with lawyers or paperwork. Just when it seemed like Troy Landry had fought his way back to normal life, his name suddenly landed in headlines for reasons no reality star wants. In 2024, Louisiana wildlife officials reportedly launched an investigation after receiving a tip, leading to surveillance during alligator hunting season. What followed caught many longtime viewers completely off guard. Authorities cited Troy for allegedly improperly tagging an alligator, along with another violation tied to cutting a dead gator loose from a line. Officials also seized his boat and engine as the case moved forward. For someone whose entire reputation was built on respecting the swamp and knowing the rules, the news spread fast, and online speculation spread even faster. But here's where things got complicated. A citation is not the same as a conviction, yet the internet rarely waits for details. Within hours, rumors were spinning and dramatic headlines painted a much darker picture than the confirmed reports suggested. Fans were divided. Some defended him immediately, while others wondered if the pressure of fame had finally led to a costly mistake. Either way, the damage to his image was immediate. Because when you're known as a legend in your field, even an accusation can hit like a verdict. And while the public debated his future, Troy was dealing with something far more personal behind the scenes. In 2022, Troy Landry faced something no amount of swamp experience could prepare him for. He revealed that doctors had found prostate cancer, forcing him into surgery and a recovery period that pulled him away from the one thing that defined his routine: gator season. For a man known for pushing through pain and pressure, this wasn't just physical, it was psychological. Troy didn't hide it or sugarcoat it. He spoke publicly about the diagnosis and the procedure, reassuring fans that the surgery went well. But behind that calm tone was a reality most viewers never see. The swamp doesn't wait, the bills don't pause, and the fear that comes with a serious health scare doesn't disappear just because you're known as tough. What made it heavier was timing. By then, Troy wasn't just responsible for himself. He carried expectations from fans, producers, and a legacy built over decades. Recovery wasn't simply about getting healthy. It was about getting back fast, enough to prove he hadn't lost a step. And while he did return, that moment marked a shift. For the first time, people saw cracks in the armor, not weakness, but mortality. And just as he was regaining his footing, another storm was already forming. One that would drag his name into headlines for entirely different reasons. While headlines focused on investigations and speculation, Troy Landry was quietly dealing with something far heavier than public scrutiny: grief. The swamp community isn't just a network of co-workers. For many of these hunters, it's family. Years spent facing danger together create bonds that outsiders rarely understand. Then came the kind of news that stops you cold. Junior Edwards, a familiar face to longtime viewers of Swamp People, passed away in 2025 after battling colon cancer. His presence had been part of the show's rugged heartbeat, and his loss sent shockwaves through the tight-knit world of Louisiana hunters. Not long after, Troy also mourned the passing of Sterling Mr. Sterling Fryu, a mentor figure whose guidance stretched back years. Moments like these don't play out dramatically on television. There's no soundtrack, no slow-motion farewell, just an empty space where someone important used to be. For a man already carrying pressure from every direction, repeated loss can shift your perspective fast. Success feels quieter. The spotlight feels harsher. Fans often see strength as the absence of pain, but reality is different. Sometimes strength is showing up even when your circle is getting smaller. And as Troy tried to steady himself through the grief, the outside noise only grew louder. Because once the public senses vulnerability, the rumor mill never stays silent for long. By this point, Troy Landry wasn't just a hunter or even a television personality. He was a constant topic of online conversation. And once your name starts trending, the line between truth and exaggeration can disappear fast. After the investigation and personal losses, social media lit up with dramatic claims about his future, his career, and even his legacy on Swamp People. Some posts hinted his career was finished. Others suggested the show might distance itself. But here's the reality: speculation moves quicker than facts, especially when the person at the center is known for being nearly unstoppable. Viewers aren't used to seeing someone like Troy in uncertain territory, so the internet fills the silence with theories. What makes this stage of his story so compelling isn't just the rumors, it's the pressure that comes with them. Imagine living your life while millions of strangers debate your next move. Every appearance, every season, every public moment suddenly feels like a statement. Yet if Troy has proven anything over the years, it's that resilience runs deep. The swamp taught him to adapt or sink, to stay steady when conditions turn unpredictable. But the real question isn't whether the rumors were true, it's what this relentless scrutiny does to a person over time, and whether even the strongest legends eventually feel the weight of it all. The story of Troy Landry isn't defined by one bad season, one headline, or one painful goodbye. It's defined by endurance. For decades, he built his reputation on toughness, discipline, and an ability to face danger without flinching. But the past few years have shown something even more revealing. Strength isn't about avoiding storms. It's about surviving them. Behind the larger-than-life image fans see on Swamp People is a man who's had to confront health fears, public scrutiny, and personal loss, all while the world watched closely. That kind of pressure would crack most people. Yet Troy keeps showing up. Maybe the real legacy of the King of the Swamp isn't just the gators he's caught, but the battles he's fought when the cameras weren't rolling. And it leaves one lingering question. How many more challenges can one legend carry before the weight finally slows him down?